YouTube must have changed some shit.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is the best animated film of all time.
Let's just not do this.
Coraline deserved more votes.
A lot of people haven't seen that either.
It's also because it was the first crossover film.
Therefore, it's not animated. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? It proved my point. Oh, sorry. It's real people in an animated movie?
There isn't that one. That's why it's groundbreaking. It's animated.
Incredibles 1, guys. We know.
All right. Now we're streaming.
Are we
YouTube
streaming?
must have changed some shit. Because I used to, when I would start the live stream from the software, it would just start.
Automatic, yeah.
And now I have to go in and fucking do shit.
I do not. I can get you one.
An ashtray.
They're, come on, you got a kitchen. Come on.
Oh.
We're going this way.
So hello. Hopefully everyone can hear us.
What's up, y'all?
We're still setting things up. But I'm assuming you can hear us. That's Quincy leaving. Getting the fuck out of here. Hi, Quincy and friends. We have names. First comment. I don't think I've ever tried mead. All right. What? There's one out in the smoking room.
Even just a piece of paper or something like it's not a lot.
In the solarium. Where I get my sun.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry about that, Jesus.
The room where I get my sun.
Do I have time to go to the laboratory, sir?
You sure do.
Okay.
Do it.
We're
gonna start smoking too.
We're gonna get this dog high.
Oh, do you get your dog high?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she'd be into it.
Why? Is she already paranoid?
Yeah, she lunges at cars and shit. She's very jumpy.
This might help her calm her down. You got to give her an indica.
In my experience, indica is the one that makes me more paranoid.
Really?
Yeah. If I smoke an indica first thing in the morning, I'm sure this network is going to be over by the evening. And then it passes, and I'm like, no, you're doing fine. Don't smoke indicas in the morning. But sativas, it's like, let's clean the fucking house.
That's the perfect combination of drugs for me is like a Vietnamese coffee and a sativa during the day. Like if I can have that it's almost like it's like a poor man's speedball. It's incredible.
What's Vietnamese coffee?
It's like it's Cafe Du Monde coffee from like
it's coffee that
chicory.
love you a long time.
Yeah,
where we at now? Come on. Hey guys, I'm coming in hot with the racism.
It's I'm so glad you're here. Is this a morning zoo radio show? I didn't realize. Yeah, it's just coffee with chicory in it, and then there's sweetened condensed milk, so it's like sugar, caffeine, and then sativa, so it's all up. So it's like it is kind of like having
I'm
a
into
speedball.
that.
Yeah, it's great
better.
for during the day.
All right. So apparently people can hear.
Oh, good.
Has he mentioned anything about The Incredibles yet? Quincy changed his fucking list.
I changed the list on Adam. We did not add it. We all know The Incredibles won the episode. I didn't want Jay. This was Jay's first time on the show, guys. I wanted him to leave with self-esteem. That's the only reason.
Well, that's a fucked up show.
I had the
pussy-ass show are you
list.
running?
Hey, man, are you changing your list for this episode?
So they fucking...
Because I have the poll made already. Because I ask for lists way ahead of time. And Quincy just starts freestyling.
For the record, guys.
Like goddamn Mos Def on an episode of the Chappelle Show.
Poor Jennifer.
For the record, guys, I have not done a list cast show in a while. I didn't know things had gotten organized in my absence. Okay, I'm used to this place running like a sinking ship. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden we're getting lists ahead of time.
So far ahead of time. I had it all ready. I just had to go in and
there's pen and paper on the table to write stuff down. I don't like this.
There's an ashtray.
I don't like the new you. This is
it's professional.
New year, new you.
That's
I don't like
sativa shit he's got
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Hell yeah, he's getting shit done.
It's because I'm fucking
See, that's
with
why
the
you're fucking up
sativas.
smoking all that indica bullshit, staying in the couch, not living your life the way you're supposed to. You got to live your best life, Quincy. And you can do that by switching brands, switching flavors.
Dream Queen is my lady right now, and I love her. Okay.
So on this list, Your 5 are in the middle.
Okay, wait.
Are any of these changing?
Let me look it up now before I get
Since
yelled
people
at.
are so upset
Hey man,
about the last episode.
what I'm happiest about is that we got to engage with the people. You know, there's no such thing as bad press. A little controversy just helps stir the pot. You know,
Yeah.
I learned from Kanye. I'm here to help.
A little controversy. You're not having a breakdown, are you? Is this? Do
Always.
we need to have a TMZ
I
intervention
think
with you where we tell you how
all
you're
of my life is a
disappointing?
breakdown. You know what? No,
Where you're
no.
disappointing an entire culture.
This list is staying the same.
Is it?
Yes,
Oh,
this
there you
list
go.
is staying
Okay.
because it's the better list. So
That's easy.
it's the best list.
So I hope people feel a little bit better now.
Love you
And
too, Jen.
if not, Zach Yates says, I like this Carmen.
Aw.
Yeah, because fuck
Why? 'Cause-
that last Carmen.
Why? Because
You remember the last
because she
Carmen we
berated
had on
me?
this show?
Have you had more than one Carmen?
No.
First of all, there's
you're the
not very
first.
many.
Yeah, you're the first.
I appreciate that. Though.
You are the second person in my life I've ever known named Carmen, I think.
I actually
I'm
haven't met
old.
that many.
So
very many
you're telling me
Carmens.
you knew Carmen San Diego? Is that what? No, bruh. No.
Well, I
Come
guess
on, man.
What?
Yeah.
Now you gotta make the hackiest joke of all time.
Because
Yeah.
that's what I do here.
Is that your job?
Yeah, I'm just a hack.
Man, you even get oppressed even in your own show. That's fucked up. You get stuck saying all the hacky bullshit. I know you're more creative than that.
No, I'm really not.
Oh, okay. Well, then stop bitching about you not having a career. You're fine. You're doing fine. You're crushing it. You have an outlet to make horrible jokes. This is great. You're
all I do.
You are living your best life.
Really am, and that's why you.
this is
should
going to be
smoke-
so much fun.
This is why you should smoke more indica, people, because you get to live your best life. Indica, the morning weed. You know.
Smoke weed every day.
Hey, 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 hey.
There is one on that's on your list that I wish was on my list.
Oh, you mean all of them? Fine.
No,
Yes,
not
okay.
all of them.
Oh, wow.
You've made some wrong decisions on your list, but
I made some wrong decisions in my life, but today
I can tell.
Today's the day.
I can tell. It's fine. I obviously did too, because I'm here with you, right?
We're living our best lives. We are living the dream right now, Carmen Morales. I don't know if you noticed this, but
Oh,
if you would have
Jesus.
told 12-year-old me I could be sitting in front of a microphone talking to people on the internet, I'd have been like, I'm in space.
I used to do it anyways. I was one of those
You were a cam
pervy
girl?
kids. No. I was a pervy kid that used to lie about my age to
Oh.
talk to older people.
Oh boy, this got weird. This took a turn.
Why?
Were you
It wasn't-
were you
wasn't-
catfishing, cat trapping? What were we calling that?
I was just younger than I said I was
Mm.
online. So it was kind of the opposite because I wasn't like, some 50-year-old dude talking to young dudes trying to get them to send their
No, you're trying to
adolescent
send
penises.
50-year-old dudes to prison.
No, it was never anything like that. They were just of age. They were just over 18 and I was like 14.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't anything. I wasn't like trying to.
Yeah, that's nothing weird.
Yeah, no. It's just weird because they
We
were
should do that right now
legal.
instead of doing this podcast.
Who amongst
I
us
would-
hasn't tried to attract a 50-year-old?
Who in
man
the
on
comments is
internet, you know?
14?
Yeah, who's 14
Who's
out there?
14 in
High
the
five.
comments?
First person,
You have to answer if we ask you.
the first person.
Just apply that to everything. I think
first
it's so funny
person
that
who
people think
types,
cops
I'm
can't.
14 in the chat room gets the save.
I think it's funny that people think cops have to not be able to lie. They go undercover and shit. You don't think they can just lie about being a cop?
Oh, they lie all the time. Have you
I
met
know.
the cops? They
That's
lie
what I'm
all the
saying.
time.
That's what I'm saying. They're like,
he had a gun.
Oh, you have
That's
to
a
tell
great
me.
lie for them. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
while people are listening, should we figure out who does the save ahead of time?
I already
this time?
announced it just randomly, and I wanted to see if anybody was listening, but I don't know. It's kind of like
oh,
it's
if there's
not-
a 14-year-old, they get to do it.
I said if you type I'm 14 in the chat, you get the save.
oh, okay.
I think they thought you were joking.
Oh, never
But
mind.
let's do it like
Donna.
no. Let's
What
do
about
it.
Never
there's
mind.
eggs? Hey, there's eggs and Donna. You guys gotta rock paper scissor for it. How do you do that on chat?
Okay, so
Shout out
Donna
to Rumble
Milligan's
Breakfast.
doing our save.
Shout out to Rum
Way
for
to
Breakfast
listen,
for the
Donna.
throwback.
Yeah, I like the ASL, baby.
Yeah, baby. What's up?
My go-to was 18, female, and yes, please. That's what I used to open with. Yeah. I was a horrible person.
So Donna Milligan's doing our save, and if Donna
Shouts out to
Milligan,
Donna, don't fuck this up.
if
for
Donna
me.
Milligan goes missing
Mm-hmm.
during the episode, Hobo Eddie is her backup, and he also probably killed her.
Oh, Hobo Eddie out there riding the rails, taking names.
So that's good. We got that
Hobo
shit.
Eddie, don't double submit, man. Act like you've been there before.
Oh,
Come on, bro.
Cassie Blah says did not know that was official. Welcome to the Unpops Network,
Hey,
baby.
man. Hey, but
We play by our own
you
rules.
thought there was controversy last episode. Imagine what's gonna happen next. Okay, I'm done with
It's
that.
the most controversial episode of Listcast ever.
I'll never tune in again.
The judges have 2 saves. I watch The Voice a lot.
Wow.
I listen to Carson Daly get very dramatic about
What?
very
That's
inconsequential.
all it is. It's just like TV clickbait. That's all every single like reality
And
TV show.
beautiful voices.
I mean, yeah, for that, but that's like a competition. But I mean, just all reality TV.
They
and all
fight
those
at the end. Have you never watched The Voice?
No, I don't
Someone
watch any of
died last season. None of that's true, but I still like that show. It's
That's
really
fine.
good.
We all have our vices. Look
Or
into
our
heroin next.
Voices.
Did we,
Oh,
did
get
we
outta here.
introduce Carmen to the
No, hi everybody. I'm
peoples?
Carmen Morales. I'm
We
a
didn't
comedian.
even introduce the show. We
I'm
haven't
a
done
friend.
anything.
No,
we
correctly.
haven't even
haven't.
started the podcast, but
Yeah,
people are watching.
Oh, wait, we should hit record then.
Oh, no, we've been recording this whole
Oh
time.
Jesus!
How many times have I said the N word? My bad, guys. I apologize.
56.
Not enough. Not enough.
Somebody
Too
keep
much.
count in the chat room.
Where is my list? Oh.
Is this like the chat
In
room?
the garbage.
Can they still show their tits and stuff? Is it like one of those chat
No,
rooms?
we shut that down because it got too distracting.
Oh yeah, because you guys can't do anything. I can do anything with tits in the background. I have writers meetings at strip clubs and stuff. I just like tits around, you know.
No, man, those things. You gotta bask in that. You know, you gotta stop and take it in like
You never
art.
had background titties before?
Like art, though, you still gotta enjoy it. Like
Sure.
a dude that doesn't acknowledge a good cleave, I just can't hang with that dude.
But that's the whole point. Is like when the conversation gets boring, you look up and you go, "Oh, there's tits," and it's always a good time.
The conversation can never be boring if tits are in the air. Let's just be real.
I feel like you're both on the same page.
Yeah, we can.
And you're just too high to.
That's just
come
most
together.
likely me. It's most likely me.
Yeah.
But I can't concentrate when there's nudity in the room. Unless it's like weird nudity, then it's like I don't want to look at it. But if it's like a hot,
You could just tell me to put my pants on. You don't have to
I
be all
want you to-
passive aggressive.
I want
from
you to be
across the
free.
room
I want you
like
to be
it.
free, sir. This is your, you know what I'm saying? This is your nation.
He's
This
trying
is
to
the
tell
Unpop
you
nation.
without telling you, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. And I
So-
wish he would just tell me.
But you know, this is a safe space. We can't be upsetting
That's not how
people.
safe spaces work. He's supposed to be able to tell me if it's a safe space.
Wait, but if I never mind. Because
He's also not allowed to be honest in a safe space. Everybody knows that. So, but I am glad you put your pants back on. I do appreciate it.
the puppy was wearing pants earlier. It was weird. It was a weird.
Well,
day.
she needed my pants. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Sometimes I need to dress her up. Great guest today, ATB. Hey, Quincy booked the guest. Thank Quincy.
Thanks, guys.
But I agree. Great guest today.
I try to surround myself with talented people so that when they get famous, I get the runoff. I just want groupies, guys.
Yeah.
I'm here for the groupies. So
You're here for the he's already fucking somebody, but you could fuck me, pussy. That's what you're here for. That sidekick pussy. That's what you're trying to get.
I grew up on Entourage. You telling me Turtle wasn't a hero? You're trying to tell
he
me
wasn't
Turtle wasn't a hero?
No, he wasn't a hero. He owns a fucking sandwich shop. He's not a hero. He
He's
owns
the hero
Fat Sal's.
sandwich. Hey, come on.
Have you had the
Fat
fucking
Sal's. Fat
Fat
Sal's.
Texas?
You can only eat that shit when you're out of your fucking mind. You try to eat that shit sober, you'll
There's
hang
a market.
yourself.
Yeah,
There's a market
I agree.
for it,
You
you
have
I
to
do
be
agree with
fucked
that.
up. I tried to eat it. So a friend was like, "Oh, you want to go to fit?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I like that. Every time I've been out of my mind, shouldn't be driving. That was a good time." And then you go and you have it not fucked up, and I was like, "What
Every-
kind of monster eats fucking mozzarella sticks on their sandwich?"
Every sandwich, at minimum, has mozzarella sticks, possibly also
French
chicken
fries.
tenders.
French fries.
And then that's just the base, and then they add shit from there.
It's
That's a
nuts.
good sandwich.
Restart required. Yeah, I'm not going to
Not
do
right
that
now,
right now.
bruh.
Yeah.
But
How
let's
about we-
actually start the show because this is going to be a fun conversation either way.
Let me just change these.
Oh, guys, Adam's about to restart and destroy.
no.
No,
us
I'm gonna make sure this doesn't.
Uh oh. This is really good. This dead air. That's like people really
No, it's
love
fine.
that. They like
they're
that.
talking amongst themselves.
Yeah,
so
they're
just-
fine.
No, but they really love it.
They're trying to figure. They're
That's why
trying to
they
figure
want
out
to
if
tune
Adam's
in.
going to destroy the world. Because
We're their supplement for heroin. They're not doing heroin because they're being distracted by us. Like, we have to be more interesting than heroin.
But
at
guys,
least.
I'm just here to let you know, as a friend, if you want to do heroin while you enjoy this podcast, live your life, bro.
Yeah. Who are we to say? All right, I think we can get started on that note.
Sure.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Listcast.
Hi, people.
Thank you for joining us. We sincerely appreciate it. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown.
Quincy Johnson II here.
Quincy's also here. And
Hi, I'm Carmen Morales.
Carmen Morales, first-time guest. Second episode in a row with a first-time guest.
Wow. Thank
We're excited.
you.
We're excited.
And
I'm
second
excited to be here.
episode in a row where we're talking about animated shit.
Just feeding the streets with what they want. You know, the people want to talk cartoons. It's been a big part of our lives.
I'm looking forward to the anime episode so I can just sit
back and do
here
nothing and-
You guys should tell me when that is so I can not listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Wait,
not-
I'm
why
not
is
going to
it-
listen and
Why
I'll
are
be
we
in
starting
the room.
off with all the anime hate?
Because
What's
anime
happening
is
right now?
trash.
Is this an ambush? Did
Yeah.
you guys
It's
conspire?
an intervention.
Oh boy.
There is like 2 animes that I really enjoyed. I doubt you've even seen them.
Which
because
ones?
It was, did you ever watch Gantz?
I don't think I've seen Gantz.
It was great. It was basically about purgatory. It was like this idea where all these people died and they all end up in this place, and then
Okay.
they had to like solve riddles
You
and
like
people.
it? You like it dark? Okay.
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, there's only so much of fucking upskirt shots I can take. I'm a lady. I'm not trying to jerk off
We're not
to
here to
cartoons.
discuss the hentai porn. It has a place, but anime in general, like
They don't
you're-
have to get fucked by tentacles.
That's
Sometimes
the
it's
por-
just like, oh
That's
look,
the pornography.
we can
side
draw
of it.
underwear.
We also have the fun Dragon Ball Z that kid can turn into a monkey side of it.
I
So-
do appreciate. I used to watch Dragon Ball Z when I was in high school. I fucked with it.
What do you mean used to? You can't.
I don't watch it anymore because it takes 9 episodes for one fucking fight sequence to happen.
All good story.
It's not. It's called I don't have enough story to tell. That's why we have to take so many episodes.
Oh,
It was
this
a-
is going to be
for
so
one
much
person to
fun.
die.
It was a different time back then, but it's still great anime. But this is, guys,
We're talking about the best animated series.
animated series of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah.
I think we did like a best 90s cartoon at one point.
Yeah, that was
something
cute.
like
that was
that.
cute. That was
Yeah.
a cute episode.
But we're
I
swinging.
would have
wouldn't
been
know.
more. I would have liked that more to be more specific.
We don't have to be specific because
We're swinging for the fences.
we're swinging for the
today.
fences here. We're going big or
This
going
makes you more of an authority on
Yeah.
the subject.
I just want to make this. You guys basically made a podcast about BuzzFeed lists. Is that what this is?
I used to work for Cracked. So I worked for before you.
Because that's like all
before
I
you-
ever post, right? Is it's just like 10. I don't know.
But yeah, we're not
Here's-
doing like a top 10. We're declaring a winner based
Oh,
on
it's
audience
just one.
votes. Yeah.
So we're just gonna
We're gonna create
debate
the
it.
list, debate it, and then the audience. We'll describe the whole thing to us.
Oh, yeah, tell me. You should tell me
This
how it
is what I
works.
did for a living. I moved to Los Angeles because I worked for a website called Cracked, and it was a list-based website, but they weren't BuzzFeed lists. They were.
Okay.
We used it as, I'm sorry to spill state secrets here, but it was more of a tactic because the internet has a really short attention span. So if you can just throw 5 points in the middle of your wall of text, they'll pay more attention. But we did never do like the 10 best action heroes or that like I never got to do that at Cracked. So now I do that here.
Okay.
But we do it, I would argue, in a slightly more thoughtful way
It's
than
entertaining
your
and fresh.
typical BuzzFeed article. But
I didn't mean for you to take it this seriously. I was busting balls, but I do appreciate
Well,
you
he
letting
wanted
me
to
know how it
am
works.
on so much meth right now. And I'm so high strung. So you'll have to forgive me. I'm going to take everything both of you say as a threat.
Okay. Well,
But
good. Well,
beyond
most of
that,
what I say
we're
is
gonna
a threat.
have
Hey,
a
Adam.
good time
hey, Adam,
tonight.
Adam, since you're in that headspace, Michael Jackson is better than Prince.
Fuck! Right there. I don't even let the people watching the live stream see my picture of Prince. God damn it. That's how sacred
that's
it
your
is.
secret hideaway right there. Yeah.
It's the meth. I'm sorry again. So we're talking about best animated series today. Don't worry, it's a fun podcast. We should go through the rules for anyone who's listening for the first time,
Thanks for
or for
tuning in, guys.
Carmen, who is doing the show for the first time. We each brought 5 picks for the best animated series of all time. We're going to go through those picks one at a time and explain a little bit about why we picked it, why we think it belongs on a list of the 5 best animated series of all time. And that will take us to a list of 15. which is way too fucking much. So then we each take turns cutting 2 from the list. You don't have to cut your own. Sometimes we do, if it calls for it. But also, if you just have a vendetta against someone who said some shit during the episode that you didn't like,
you're dead.
Just cut their shit.
Okay.
After we do that, we post the remaining list.
I don't know why you're yelling at me. That's fine. I just
After we
want to
do
play.
that, we post.
This is how I talk.
We're going to post the remaining list, and our Patreon subscribers will be able to go in and vote, and then we will have a declarative winner, and the internet will be a better place for it.
And
cool.
one of the people in the audience gets to do the save, and we figured that out beforehand this time, and the person doing the save is Donna Milligan.
Donna, you still here?
Unless Hobo kills her.
Unless
Donna,
she
don't leave.
disappears, in which case Hobo Eddie is on the clock.
Donna, don't you leave me.
Donna, can you hear me? Okay.
Anime is a separate category, by the way. They just talked about
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna do anime episodes as well. But
Somebody
for right
did
now,
bring up
we're
a
just
good
doing
point.
Grand Scope.
Is animated series denotes adult themes more than cartoons do.
Hey, that's what we're here to talk about. You got it now.
Okay.
Well, I think that means it can include both.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking necessarily like Saturday morning cartoons or...
We're talking an animated series. If it is a series, a television series that was animated, it is in the discussion. We keep it broad to keep you guys engaged.
Why would you tell them your entire marketing strategy?
Oh, you think we have a strategy?
You just tell them.
I was forced into this. I don't,
Guys, this
We
is
have
how
no
we're going to
strategy.
market to you.
I thought this was going to be a side gig, and now it's been a whole thing for like a year and a half. There's no
Nice.
strategy.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good. You have a whole year into something you have no thought into. I like
Yeah.
it. Wing it.
I've
Wing
been
the
too
whole
busy
thing.
keeping it afloat. Being the cornerstone of this.
Being the sultan of podcast castle, or I don't know where those people live. So. I told you it was going to be insensitive in here, so it doesn't matter.
It's going to be a fun episode. Quincy, do you want to start
Let's do it.
with your first pick?
I would love to start. Guys, I am happy to announce that on this, I've changed my list, by the way, Adam, just so we can keep the controversy
Come
going.
on,
He
man.
just changed it.
I just want to make... No, I didn't change my list. I just said that
Oh.
to
Jesus.
it's a call back to the previous episode. I'm having a good time, guys. I do stand-up comedy. No. My first list... One of the greatest cartoons ever created. Since we are already on the topic of anime series, it is technically an anime series, but it is the largest cartoon in human history, and that's Pokemon. There, I said
No,
it.
that doesn't qualify. That's got to go in the anime category.
No, it's an animated
that's
series.
Not even a fucking.
It's an
No.
animated series. It's been
No.
on for 22 seasons.
You guys just said before this that you were going to do a separate one for fucking anime, and that goes into
we're
anime.
gonna do an anime one because things like Naruto and One Piece need their day in the sun.
It
but
doesn't
in
matter.
terms
This
of
needs to go in it. That doesn't count. You got to pick another
It's
one.
a
That doesn't even
huge
qualify.
cartoon.
This is your show. How did you get this wrong on your show?
Oh no, I got it exactly right.
Can I get some backup here?
Adam.
Thank you. Pokemon is anime.
It's an
The people have
animated
spoken.
series.
But it's animated.
It's an animated series of cartoons
No, sir.
cut into seasons.
It's
That's
anime.
an animated series.
We did a best 90s
That shit got
cartoons
dubbed, bruh.
once.
It is an anime.
Okay, so if I say, hey, tell me what your favorite movie is, and you say, it's Indiana Jones, that's an action movie. I said movie. Like, no, dude, it's a fucking
No, well, that doesn't
animated
make sense.
series.
What
It's an
I'm
animated
saying
series.
makes sense.
It's an animated series. Anime is an
It
action
would make
movies
sense.
are movies.
Yeah.
Anime is
I
animated
agree.
series.
I agree with Quincy on this.
It's-
It doesn't.
it's an animated
it doesn't.
series.
It only makes sense if you were never going to have an anime episode. But since you are,
No, that's
Pokemon
like saying
falls
that's
underneath
like
the category of anime.
That's like saying Beyonce can't win best album and best female album.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're still the same category. Like animated series is like the best album of
the same.
animation, and
Here,
then
I can
there's
put it- I can-
categories.
I can
from
put it in
there.
the scope like this.
the
the
shit
same
was
way
dubbed.
the
It
same-
wasn't a cartoon. It's not
Wait,
the same. It's
what-
fucking anime.
How can it not be a cartoon if it's dubbed just because it's from another country? I think cartoons are universal. You can't just say because it was Japanese.
Well, then
doesn't count.
then we have to postpone the episode because I didn't take anime into consideration when I conducted my list.
No, we'll just have to have a part 2 and have you back on it.
You just said you were going to
But
do a whole
Quincy
episode
sent
on
his-
anime.
Quincy sent his list and it had Pokemon on it.
She didn't read my list.
I didn't read his list. You think I had to copy and paste my own list to remember what the fuck I wrote for me?
But here,
I don't remember.
Instead of, and so we don't have to. We'll discuss all of this later. But let's keep the show rolling for right now. I will say, Pokemon is still right now an ongoing animated series, which is beloved by millions.
Well, it's just
It's
immediately
spawned
going to
off
get
a
cut then
huge
because it doesn't even
franchise.
count.
I don't like the racism being spewed here.
It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with racism.
She hates them
Actually,
because
you're
he's
more
Japanese.
racist because you don't even
I'm
have the
very racist.
Boondocks on your list. That's some racist shit.
We can't have the same. We can't have the same cartoon on each other's list. So when you took Boondocks, I was like,
Spoiler alert.
well, she called it out. That's the only reason I don't have it on my list because you sent your list first.
I don't believe you.
We gave all the rules in the. Never mind. And Pokemon is my first pick. We're gonna throw it over to you, Carmen, for your first terrible pick. Go ahead.
Well, since I can't, and you called it a terrible pick.
I'm just all your picks are terrible. So
Man, you're gonna hate your own culture. That's really upsetting. You really are trying to do Kanye this episode. I picked the Boondocks.
Spoopity-boop.
You want to go with Japan,
That's
and you want to go for something that doesn't even qualify.
all of
And if you're taking Pokemon out of all of the animated series, that is a weak one.
no, it's not.
Why? Just because there's a game?
No, because
it gives kids seizures?
Because it is a huge franchise that has been going on for 22 plus seasons.
It has also given children seizures. How can you be in support of
that
something?
ain't got nothing to do with Pikachu. That was the editors, bruh. They didn't.
No, it has to do. You want to talk about an animated series? That animated series caused children to have seizures.
Mostly white kids. I was okay with it. You know? What
No,
I'm
it
saying?
wasn't. It was more people in Japan. The
Mostly
American
white
kids were
I'm
like,
okay
"We're
with it.
fine."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were fine.
Oh, the Americans were fine. USA.
Because their eyes are round.
That sounds good to me.
It's because their
Japanese
eyes are round.
people are the white people of the
Boondocks is an
continent of Asia.
amazing.
Yeah. Okay, but tell us why you selected Boondocks, please.
Boondocks is incredible because
Oh, someone
it was
Maurice Rosser Hendricks says Boondocks is also anime.
How do you
It was.
figure?
Well, I was going to bring that up. The entire series was animated in Korea, so technically it was made as an anime style.
Canime.
No, but it was made for the art, but it was still made for the States. It wasn't something that we stole from Japan and sold to us.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay. But back
It's
to
more
why-
like a
back-
Samsung than an iPhone.
It's a Sony. It's a Sony, not a Samsung. We get it. Okay. So you picked Boondocks because
I picked Boondocks for the reason that you should have picked Boondocks, because it was incredible for the Black community to have an animated series that was not only hilarious, well written, but it was also had incredible commentary about Black culture.
Where you at, Quincy? Come on.
no. Again, just for the record, we put in the rules. You post your list, and then
So what you're saying is I'm right, and my choice wins? Do I win?
Boondocks is a great choice for best animated series. The only problem is it's only good for 2 out of the 3 seasons. Like, you can't sit there
Why?
because Aaron Magruder left the 3rd season and it was garbage. The writing was terrible.
It wasn't as good, but I wouldn't say it was terrible.
No, the writing was terrible. The 3rd season of Boondocks is unwatchable. You cannot, as you sit back and just like with Chappelle's show, you can specifically say from the first 2 seasons, this is a moment that was hilarious. This was great. You do not recall a single episode of season 3 of the Boondocks that you go, that's a classic episode, because it was a terrible season. That's why it can't be one of the greatest animated
Also,
series
apparently,
of all
it
time.
was a
can
comic
just
strip.
because
Yes,
like
it
how
was-
The
it was
Wire
a-
is
it
one
was
of
a
the
comic
best
strip by Aaron
series.
Magruder, and it was turned into a television series, much like most comic series or comic book movies like Marvel you're watching now. Everything starts on the written page first when it comes to animation. Most of the times, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like The Wire. Well, The Wire had shitty seasons, but it's still one of the best fucking TV series of all time.
Again, I am not sitting here saying
It
that the
had,
Boondocks
like,
isn't
a half
good.
of
I'm
shitty
saying that
seasons.
there are several arguments that knock it out of greatest animated series. One major one being that the 3rd season is god awful. Like, it's not redeemable. You can't really sit down and watch it.
How? It's pioneering something.
It's pioneering awful. That the third season is terrible. I'm just
No, but the first two seasons
the
are
first two
so
seasons are
good. It
genius.
doesn't matter
The
that
first-
the third season sucked.
It's just like Chappelle Show. You sit here, if you sit here and someone brings up the Chappelle Show, you do not point to any part of the third season and go, "That was great." That was why that
It
show
doesn't
is
matter. It
classic.
doesn't take away from the fact that the Chappelle Show is fucking incredible.
No, it's good, but that is a knock on its shine. It's a
So you don't
notch
think
on the
Chappelle
record.
Show would be up in the running for one of the greatest sketch shows of all time?
No,
Why?
because
the third
because
season?
it was groundbreaking, but there are better sketch shows. Yeah, it's one of those things. That's just my argument, though. But okay.
Interesting. Kanye, I see.
I feel like Quincy's undermining my entire argument for my next pick before I even get to make it. But my pick is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which I'm old, so that matters. It's a thing. Like it was right in my wheelhouse in the 80s. I had all the toys. It's also one of the first, it changed things. Like it was one of the first cartoons that was tied specifically to a toy. And because of that, in the 80s, directly marketing to children was a bad thing. Like people frowned on it. So they were like, you have to do something different with this to make it just not a long commercial for the toys. So they started adding these little lessons at the end of each episode and saying, hey kids, here's what the fuck you just learned in watching He-Man and the
How
Masters
stupid
of the
did they think the
Universe.
kids were where they had to be like, look, this was what you should have got from this?
They were so stupid
But they had to make
tell
it.
kids not to swallow
They had
the
to
toy.
make it overt for the Tipper Gore types who were shitting on Prince in the
A
80s.
Tipper Gore drop, nice.
And can I mention He-Man? Probably one of the first openly gay cartoon characters. Not openly, but I think we've accepted since then that even if He-Man wasn't, Adam certainly was. Not this Adam, baby.
Hey man, that
But
pink,
Adam from the He-Man
that
cartoons.
pink and, that
No,
pink
dude
and
wore
green
mad pink.
mini outfit, yeah, man.
I think Skeletor. I think they were both.
That was the skeleton in his closet.
Could be.
That was
but that's
why
why
he
they
was
made him the
always
that's why they
battling
made him the
him.
villain. That's why I don't like it. I think that's bullshit. I think that show's homophobic. I don't think so.
Well, he was the villain, but Adam was the hero, and that dude wore so much pink and purple. It
Well,
was
see,
great.
that's just fucked up because you just think a dude. This was the '80s. Everybody wore pink and purple. You ever see a Rick James fucking music video? None of those bitches were hot. Everybody was just doing coke, so of course they were wearing pink and purple.
Okay, so maybe it's a cartoon about a dude in the 80s doing coke. I fucking love that, too. That's also
I
exciting to
actually
me.
would have
know
watched
what?
a cartoon.
Maybe he
like
does enough
That's-
coke and his cat looks
that
like a
is
green
how-
fucking tiger.
That is how we are gonna pitch the relaunch of He-Man.
Yeah.
Hey man, just a dude hanging around doing coke. He's He-Man.
I don't care how you angle it. I fucking loved He-Man as a kid, and it is one of those groundbreaking things that a lot of things that came after it, at least in that short time period, had to kind of emulate it because
You
it
talking
was
about
so
Thundercats?
fucking
Like,
successful. Thundercats,
anything in
G.I. Joe,
anything
like
in
all
that
that Saturday
era-
morning cartoon shit. He-Man kicked a lot of that off.
My problem with anything in that era is what you said. They just were trying to give you the 30 minutes of buy these toys, and guys, make sure you wrench your finger if you get a cut at the end.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I'm glad the Star Wars franchise hasn't carried that well into right now. Like that's what every fucking franchise that people complain about having their childhood destroyed when there's a person of color cast in it. That's every one of those fucking movies. It's just a thing. The Star Wars franchise was rebooted to sell merchandise.
I know that,
Well,
but you
if
have
that's
you,
your
see, I don't-
argument, then Pokemon isn't even fucking relevant.
How is it?
I don't
not
give a
relevant?
shit about
Because you
Pokemon.
can't- it's just also
It's
selling fucking
huge
toys.
now.
It's selling toys and selling video games. It's still all just a marketing ploy.
It's not, but it's not a marketing ploy in terms of I can.
What have you ever learned from an episode of fucking Pokemon?
I've learned tolerance and understanding.
That's not true at all.
I actually like Japanese people, where you seem to have a problem with anything that
Have you
has
been to
be
Japan?
dubbed.
I have.
I've been to I've been to Little Tokyo. I'm close enough.
Yeah,
Nope,
that
not the
is close.
same
Yeah.
at all. Not the same at
Yeah,
all.
he's got you there. I don't know how you argue with that.
He-Man's okay. I mean, Thundercats was better, so I mean, He-Man can't even really be on.
Yeah,
the
I
list
mean,
without-
Facebook's technically better than Friendster. But I feel like history will look upon Friendster a little more kindly
and say, why didn't you
in
guys?
retrospect.
Why
No,
weren't you guys
can't.
Facebook?
No,
Why
no.
did Friendster
No.
get Trump elected? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
but
think
you
we'll be
can't-
like, we should have kept it at Friendster if we're being completely
Friendster
honest.
ain't heard nobody.
Well, yeah, you can say that now in hindsight, but Facebook is also.
I was talking about hindsight though, because I was talking about the future. That's short for the future.
Oh my god. How are you your age and still 14? How does that happen?
Rum for breakfast.
Because
I
I
do watch
do
Pokemon.
this
I was
for
going
a
to address
living.
that after we get done with the debate because I got you, bro. I'll tell you about my favorite moments from last season. We'll discuss. But anyway,
Somebody he also brought up a point. Do you even watch Pokemon?
Yes, I said we'll discuss that after the debate because we can go through the whole thing. But yeah, it's real out here.
What's your next pick,
He-Man,
Quincy?
pick. Meh. It's a meh pick.
Yeah,
but,
I got you.
My next pick,
I'm not
guys.
salty. I'm just arguing.
It's a wonderful cartoon that is near and dear to my heart. We discussed it because its movie was in my picks for greatest movie or greatest animated film. South Park. South Park is one of the greatest animated series of all time. Socially relevant, groundbreaking, jaw-dropping moments on national television, the likes of which we had never seen before, coming out of the mouths of white 8-year-olds in Colorado. You know what I mean? Like, you got to fuck with it.
Finally, white people get a voice.
Finally. It's about time they got their voices heard. You know, how else were we supposed to learn about homosexuality unless a chef sang it to us while a pig and an elephant had sex together? You know what I'm saying?
South Park is a good pick.
Big Gay Al changed my life. You know what I mean? Like, get the t-shirt.
I like South Park as a pick for, if nothing else, for the technology they use to crank that show out as fast as they do and to make it as timely as it is. Like, one of the small details you don't think about, South Park, none of the people's legs move. And that's one of the reasons they're able to crank that show out as frequently as they do. Because animating walking and movement takes a lot of extra work. And so everyone just kind of hops around. And even if it wasn't a really funny, well-written show, the technology that goes into making it.
Wait, did you just hold up?
current-
Did you just say South Park wasn't a well-written
He's on meth.
show?
He's on meth.
No, I said even if it wasn't.
If it
Oh,
wasn't.
I was like, hold
If
on.
I said even if it wasn't the technology that goes into making it as current and timely as it is would make it a great pick.
Yeah.
But of course, it's a fucking incredibly well-written show.
Yeah, it's one of those shows where when you think they can't do something, like when it's like, oh, they're getting stale, they're running out of stuff to talk about. Trump gets elected, and it's like, well, fuck, this is another 10 years worth of shows right now.
Yeah.
And because they can keep it so relevant as opposed to an 8 or 10 month waiting period to get the script, the voiceover and script animated, they can crank it out in less than a week.
Right.
Great stuff, man.
I liked it, and then I saw the documentary about how they turn it around in 7 days, and then I loved it even more. That's why everything is always so fresh. What's great about it is like they also shit on both sides too, because they also constantly going after the PC shit, and in a funny way, because you're at these characters that are kids. You're not, you can't hate a kid because then you're a bad person.
You can if you
You
try.
absolutely
Believe it.
can,
Believe
for
in
sure.
yourself.
Yeah. But then you also have, you have these kids teaching you something, which I also that was really rad. It's a good pick too.
I enjoy my pick. South Park, guys. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. We declared the winner. You guys work. What's your next pick, Carmen?
My next pick was Rugrats. Was my next pick for one of the greatest animated series of all time. It was
near and dear to the heart.
It is because it was during the divorce boom when everybody's parents were getting divorced, and it was one of the first like kid shows that were talking about subjects that kids were uncomfortable adults talking to them to, and it was like these situations that like these super serious adult themes, but with kids teaching you about them. Yeah.
I remember I was physically like I was excited when I saw the grown-up versions of the Rugrats because I felt like, oh, I got to watch them grow up. You know what I mean? Because I had watched so much of that content as a kid.
And it wasn't just these goofy characters. You learned about them almost as if they were your friends. Like if you learn about your friends' parents getting divorced, that's not something you're just gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
oh yeah, remember when we played in the sandbox that one time? No, it's gonna be like legit. Like you're like, holy fuck, I connected with this person. So it was like the first time I'd ever seen animated characters where you could actually connect with them like that on a level where it's like, dude, that's my fucking friend Chucky, man. He's got a dead mom, dude. Don't be nice to him.
Yeah, be nice to Chucky. His mommy went to
And it
sleep.
also taught kids to fucking be nice to each other too.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Rugrats, Adam? Nah.
I watched it, but it was a little outside my age range.
Okay.
By that point,
You were born in the roaring 20s. I get it.
I was born in '76, man.
Yeah.
I'm in my 40s. So
You
when the
skipped it.
Rugrats was like, I've seen Rugrats and I appreciate it for what it is, but it didn't, like a lot of the stuff I'm going to bring up is stuff I saw when I was watching
on the
shit
original
like
television.
this.
We get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
On reel to
With
reel.
the bunny ears and the black and white and all that shit. You know, like Archer. For example.
Is that
The
your next pick?
2000
Is that your next pick?
It sure is.
Oh, that's a solid pick.
Archer is one of the funniest shows on television. There are more quality jokes in one episode of Archer than a lot of shows get out in an entire season. It's an absurd show. It's fucking ridiculous.
They jumped the shark the beginning of episode 1. You know what I'm saying?
He beats the HR representative with a aluminum foil dolphin in the first episode, and he's still working there. It's a completely absurd show, but it's so funny and so well written, and I don't think there are a lot of things on television right now as funny as Archer.
I love Archer. I'm a little disappointed with the, hey guys, we're ending everything. This is the final season, and then the money's too good. We're back for more.
I know that is like really.
Like it was.
then
I thought they were walking away.
Yeah,
I
they've
mean,
done that to me.
Welcome to
several times
every
now.
rapper who's told you he's going to retire. Like,
He's just
if
Jay-Z
you're going to hate
coming back
Archer for
wearing the
that, you
fofo.
got to fucking hate Jay-Z.
He coming back wearing the
because
fofo.
we are not supposed to have heard from him since like 2005.
You're right. You're right.
And he's back.
But like,
So Archer could, they probably did it as a fucking publicity
also,
stunt.
there were like with a show like Archer, there were so many extended storylines that like there are storylines from season 1 that had just continued throughout the series. And then when they were like, we're going to take this break and do this dream sequence and all this other crap, they scrapped everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's kind of like, it was a letdown.
It is kind of rude. It is
letdown.
kind of rude to pump the brakes on a lot of stuff when we're interested in the whole thing, just because they wanted to make some more money.
Yeah.
That sucks. The show is really well written, but I mean, if you're gonna make something, don't fuck with us. You know?
Yeah. But again, you're asking a lot out of people writing television shows these days.
That's true. You're right.
Like every show is kind of fucking
Yeah,
with
because
you.
we're flooded
Like
with
as
options.
much as we love The Good Place, they don't know what the fuck they're doing with that show right
don't
now.
even-
It
yeah.
just keeps restarting over and over and over. And I get that that's the premise, but also don't make that the premise.
Yeah.
That is a frustrating premise. But it doesn't.
Why?
It
worked for fucking Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day was a movie, not a
20,
TV
not a 20
series.
episode
So
pickup.
what? But I'm
But-
saying they just took a concept and stretched it out.
Yeah,
How many
it's a
times he
concept
starts
that
over in Groundhog Day? Way more times than you start over with The Good Place.
Right. No, there's a point in season 2 of The Good Place where it just like starts over every episode. But that's the thing. Like a lot of good shows have their flaws, but it doesn't take away from how funny that show is. Like it's, every show's going to have its things that you can take away from it. But Archer and The Good Place both, the jokes are so fucking good. They're so much better than most shows.
Yeah, they're
I think in terms of jokes, Archer is probably the best animated show on right now.
Ooh, that's a.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't know. Are you talking about like laughs per minute? Because I think South Park would contend with that.
Oh, yeah, there's a couple out there.
It'll
that would
contend.
Yeah, like,
And so would Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty would contend with it
what
too.
would contend with that? I believe my next pick could contend with that, and that's BoJack Horseman. Everybody, BoJack Horseman on Netflix. Just an amazing series that deals with a lot of real, everyday, like human interaction situations, but in an animated format that they can even delve deeper into certain shit because it's so off the wall. You know what I'm saying? Interspecies relationships, celebrity and success, and what makes you happy.
I think it relates to you specifically because you live in Los Angeles and you're in this world.
Well,
but to the most people, I don't think it's that. I would rather watch Mike Tyson Mysteries. Like I would put it on the same. I would put it on the same level. It's not definitely not in contending for the greatest of all time.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't love BoJack Horseman.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of people
I
don't
watched
love
the
it.
first season.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I get a lot of it because, again, I live in Los Angeles and I'm in this entertainment world. I feel like Netflix just made a cartoon for us.
But
is all that really happened.
But there are so many people who identify with the idea of
being a drunk has-been.
Well, no, trying to navigate the idea of what is success and what is happiness. And that's something that BoJack really delves into, and I believe a lot of people can identify with that. So the storytelling on BoJack for me really is a nice examination of the human existence right now. For me, that's how I look at it.
I still feel like it's specific to like a place like Los Angeles, though.
Well, no, it speaks more to me because of the entertainment industry connection. But in terms, like even someone who's a doctor or a teacher or whatever profession.
But they don't. You know how hard it is to be a drunk has-been doctor or teacher. Like,
but it's not. I'm not connecting with the drunk has-been part because if you're calling, I'm not a drunk has-been. I don't connect with that. I'm saying in terms of trying to navigate between success and happiness. You know what I'm saying? Am I happy because I'm successful at what I do, or am I successful because I'm just happy in life? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot going on there for me. And I think a lot of people understand that. That's why I picked it.
Well, it's okay. It's okay that it's not going to win, but that's fine. It's good that you like things. You know?
I appreciate your negativity, but I believe in myself. So, BoJack Horseman, guys, we need your votes. What's your next pick, dear?
I got Rick and Morty next.
Oh, okay.
Rick and Morty for having a sociopath as a protagonist, which is a very interesting choice. For it to be a good combination of stupid and smart at the same time. And so there's jokes for everybody in it. I hate their fans. I think it's just like I like Tool.
I want my Szechuan sauce.
I like Tool. I hate the people that go to their concerts. It's the same thing.
I hear you.
It's the same thing where it's like I like to not tell people. I bought a all I use Instagram for is like stalking artists, and this artist did this thing. This like profile of Rick Sanchez, and I bought it. Like that's how much I'm a big fan, but I just don't tell people about it because I can't stand the motherfuckers that like the shit. You know? But I'm also a nihilist, and that show is all about like, hey, what if there's fucking nothing and this is it? You should probably make it the best possible. Like that's a really great show example for that as well.
I like Rick and Morty, and I fell into that category of when it hit the scene, it was just so refreshing because it was so different. You fell into.
We also were in like we were in a dead spot at the time. Like Adult Swim didn't have much things popping off.
Yeah, they had moved to mostly live content. Like most of their animation had died out. Yeah. Yeah.
And then this came along, and it was a huge breath of fresh air. Why do you hate it so much? Plus, I also was a big Back to the Future fan, and so then like having these two characters based on two characters that I already loved, loosely based, but still based on them.
I already think Back to the Future is a. I mean, Back to the Future 2 is one of the worst movies ever made, but we can talk about that later. Rick and Morty is good, but it's not like it's still. I guess it's still too young for me. It's only 3 seasons deep.
I agree with that.
And it's only 3 seasons old.
Yeah.
Like it's like with the Boondocks with me. Like if Rick and Morty was done after these 3 seasons, how would I look at it in terms of an overall series? But it's still going on, even with the long break.
Well, we don't even know yet. That's the other thing too, is it might be done because they haven't gotten picked up for a 4th season.
Oh.
That's the other thing too, is these people become such cunts because it's the way that their process of making it is the hardest for the animators, but it's also incredible for the people writing it, for like Roiland and Dan Harmon. He just gets hammered and riffs an entire episode of a cartoon. Can you do that?
Living the dream.
That's what I'm saying. Do you realize how nuts that is?
Yeah, man.
That's incredible. To me, that's incredible. Just like it's incredible how South Park pumps out an episode in 7 days.
Yeah.
It's just a maniac in a fucking sound booth creating these entire things. And then you have the mastermind, which is Dan Harmon, who takes that psycho and he puts this little structure around him and he goes bounce off these walls. You know? To me, that process in itself is also pretty
I actually
rad.
like it way better hearing that.
Yeah, like
I've never heard that.
That's why it takes so
Rick
long
and
for
Morty.
one season to come out, because
that's
you just have to
interesting.
listen to it and figure out how all that's going to look, you know?
Yeah,
that reminds me of the White Stripes. The White Stripes, people hated a lot because Meg White was this very specific thing, but that was what it was supposed to be, and that was how he was building that thing, and it was supposed to sound like that.
the White Stripes isn't Jack White. The White Stripes is its own entity.
Right.
Yeah. And with Rick and Morty, let's say we just don't have these 3 seasons. There are 1 or 2 episodes in seasons 1 and 2 that are just like, oh, those are really, really good for me. And then there's like 4 episodes in season 3, and that's where everybody went crazy because it was just like, oh, this shit is next level. But as an overall series in those 3 seasons, it's not. This is gonna be great forever.
Yeah,
It's gonna influence the next great thing, is what I'm saying.
I've seen
Why
it.
don't you think, you don't think it would last over time? Why?
Because
Why do you think it will?
What do you mean?
Like, what do you think is going to be so enduring about Rick and Morty?
I think it is going to influence things because it's also shown you cartoon characters that we haven't seen before. We haven't seen a drunken sociopath that's an old person that still takes care of people, even though he does it in the most fucked up way possible. Like,
Archie Bunker.
Mo Sislak.
It's not the same.
I mean, it's kind of like that.
No, it's not. Nobody gives a fuck about Mo, dude. Not like not as a main character.
Well, because he's not the main character.
Who's like at home going, man, I hope they bring
Like
Mo back next series. I don't know.
I
He's in a lot of episodes.
I disagree that those aren't characters we've ever seen before. They're literally based on characters from a movie that existed before.
No, the dynamic is based on that. It's not
The
based on
dynamic, the look, the way they fucking talk, the hair, everything about them.
How can you sit there and somebody who's seen Back to the Future
No
and somebody who's
Parkinson's.
watched Rick and Morty and said that they talk the same? They don't talk the same at all.
Well, because one, it's a cartoon and they're different people, but
they don't talk the same. The difference is
but
this
they're
is
based
dynamic.
on, you're saying they're characters we've never seen before. They're based on characters we've seen before.
They're based on a relationship that we've seen before.
Between 2 characters.
Yeah. But it's not the exact same. Like, Marty McFly was way cooler than the character that is Morty.
I like Morty better than Marty McFly, but
Why is that?
because Morty is idiotically charming in terms of that character. The way they set him up to be a full-blown idiot, but you can't help but love that he is the only equalizer to what is considered the greatest intellect in the universe. You know what I'm saying? Like he is that center because you still have to be a human no matter how ingenious you are. It's a great character, but it's not Morty's so like I'm not gonna look at Rick and Morty in 10 years from now and be like, it's a good ass fucking show. Like I want to watch that.
But why
again.
though? Why don't you think so?
Because there are better shows. Rick and Morty was great now because there's nothing else like it, so it's gonna corner the market. But there are better shows.
So what you're describing, it's something that is pioneering something, and you guys aren't giving it the credit that it deserves.
It's good. I didn't say it was a bad show. It shouldn't be on the list. I'm just saying it's not, in my mind, the best. That's all I'm saying. You know, Adam, your pick. Intensity Eagle, guys, crack one open.
My next pick is the Jetsons.
This is okay. Go ahead.
Here's what I love about the Jetsons.
No blacks. Go ahead.
This is it's a mysterious show because we don't really know what the fuck's happening in the Jetsons. They are ostensibly in space, but we never see space. They're just in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
They're just living in the sky above something that happened on Earth, which implies it's a dystopian future.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a dystopian future where people are happy and shit works. So that plays into it for me because that's an angle you very rarely see in a dystopia where it's like, hey, we can't go back to the ground because it's all the fucking Flintstones down there, but we're up here in the sky and we're fucking commuting to work through tubes and our dinner comes out of the fucking wall.
I'm gonna tell you, this is why I hate the Jetsons. The Jetsons is literally white privilege on canvas. Okay?
Actually, all they did was they took the Flintstones and then changed the way they drew them a little bit.
The story of the Jetsons is there was a devastating event on Earth. Flooding happened, and they raised all of these homes above the clouds. Now, we all know that Cloud City money, that's elitist money in America. The poor, there are no poor people.
You're talking about the America of the 60s when places like Gary, Indiana were still booming, baby.
There are no
I feel like it
poor
just
people
took place
in Sky Cities. I'm sorry, there are no poor people in Sky Cities. George Jetson.
But you're talking about a different part, a different period in history when there were burgeoning middle classes all around the country.
Watch this.
And they weren't all white. This is just your ignorance of the Jetsons universe.
No, George Jetson.
You haven't done the research. You don't know what Gary Jetson's was like.
George Jetson.
You guys are both wrong. All that happened is somebody went to Hanna-Barbera and was like, dude, but what if we made Flintstones in the sky? And then they're like, run it. That sounds great.
Watch this. George Jetson would come home from an exhausting day of work after pushing a button all day. That is the most elitist, oh, now daddy's making me work attitude. No, stop that. Stop it. Bullshit.
They're in space.
Bullshit. They had robot maids. There were no minorities, but the maids still
focused on one family. There weren't a ton of minorities on Friends.
Let me just.
But we know there's black people in New York.
Sorry, bro.
I trust
all of our walkways have to move for us because we don't want to walk on our own. It's so exhausting. It's just white privilege.
I trust that version of the apocalypse to include people of color. I'm sorry.
There were none in that one.
Because it was just, how do you know if it had carried on? Like if they had made it like The Purge, where every movie just kind of builds on that, eventually you'd see.
Nah.
You can't prove I'm wrong.
It was also just one neighborhood. It's not like they traveled.
Again, to get Sky City money, you're not working 9 to 5. You're not working at McDonald's and then you're getting evacuated into the sky.
Listen, this is before wages started stagnating in this country. It was before we started gutting the labor movement, which is... labor unions are what kept wages in line with inflation. This is all existing in a time before that. I promise you, if you go to the Sky City version of Flint, Michigan on the Jetsons, motherfuckers are doing all right.
Somebody in the chat brought up a good point. Is fucking Rosie did make it. It did seem like she was the black lady.
Yeah, the robot.
That's
because
what I'm
we didn't bring any with
Why?
us.
Because she had a New York accent?
Because we didn't bring any with us. So let's build one so we feel comfortable with it working.
It is kind of a shitty look.
She had a New York accent.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to assume she's black. And because she's made of metal, I like metal's going to be gray, baby.
All right, man. Yeah, okay.
All right.
You're a white privilege cartoon, man. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan.
I was. That's the dystopia I want to live in.
You know, I think you guys are both right, but I also have a black guy and a white guy arguing about a white TV show, so I get both of your points right now.
Yeah.
That's what we.
It makes sense that that's the world that you want, and it makes sense that that's not the world that you want.
Little secret, that's literally the entire marketing strategy. That's it right there.
Yeah, that's what we do. Quincy, what's your next pick?
My next pick, guys, is an animated series that's so great, you're probably all tired of hearing people tell you how great it is, because that's how fucking great it is.
The Kid and Play Saturday morning cartoon.
Actually, it's the MC Hammer Saturday morning cartoon with the singing shoes, okay? Okay, you can't hammer dance without those singing shoes. No, the Batman the Animated Series. This is, in terms of using the term groundbreaking, is not encapsulating enough. This series was the first primetime animated action series in the history of television. The voice acting was amazing. Storytelling, animation overall. You can still sit down and watch it today and go, yo, this is baller. as fuck. Batman the Animated Series, guys. You just can't go wrong with it. Come on.
I've never watched
I'll take all, just send all the victories now. Come on.
I've never watched it. Carmen?
Yeah, I don't think it's the best. Sorry.
You're both dead to me.
It's not bad, but I was also, it was also out when I was like, I don't know, I didn't get into Batman until I was older, until I was an older teenager. So I wasn't introduced to it.
Right now.
I wasn't introduced to it at the right time for me to like it. It was fine. I watched it. It was a good time. It was always on before Gargoyles, and that was an awful show. So I would have rather watched Batman the Animated Series than Gargoyles for sure. But it's
Yates,
definitely not groundbreaking. I wouldn't call it groundbreaking. Batman already existed.
Zach Yates makes a very valid point.
What's that?
In the comments, you just chastise me for
the white privilege show.
White privilege, and you just picked white privilege, the superhero, for your pick.
I like Zach.
Zach.
White billionaire
hey, Zach,
for the win.
Hey Zach,
is his
just so you know,
comment.
he wasn't the essence of white privilege. Sure, he had money, but he pulled himself up from his bootstraps. Had to watch both of his parents
so he's
die.
an Ayn Rand type.
Had to watch both.
You can have white privilege as long as your parents die in front of you. You're allowed. That's the rule. Your parents have to die in front of you in an alley, and then it's okay.
Don't talk about Harry Potter here. That's a podcast of a different time. Because they showed so much of Batman's backstory in this animated series, you saw him go through his training around the world to become the world's greatest detective. It wasn't just hey, I'm up here and I got to push a button all day. So it really wasn't privilege. The man worked for it.
It's definitely better than the Jetsons,
worked for it.
but it's
Whoa. I'm still here. I don't know where that came from. What's your next pick? Carmen.
I'm actually going to go with one that you've probably seen, which is Looney Tunes. I have Looney Tunes is on my list.
This is a good pick.
One I've probably because I fought in World
it's
War
old
II.
time.
Yeah, they
okay.
had it then.
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
I will say it's fucked up. There was some racist. There was some
was
very
there?
You just said
racist-
some. That's not large enough. There's a lot of.
It's just the kind
whole
you're comfortable
heap of-
vouching for in entertainment.
It's it was also a different time. Shut up! You just wanted a fucking whites only TV show. There was at least a black duck in what I'm talking
I didn't
about.
want a whites only
And he
TV
got
show.
shot-
I got one and put it on my list.
And that black duck got shot by the cops all the time on that show. Let's just be real.
Yeah, it was commentary on the things that were already happening that, But here's the thing. I wouldn't have learned how funny violence was if it wasn't for Looney Tunes. I also wouldn't have learned how funny it is to see a straight guy in a dress if it wasn't for Looney Tunes. Because a straight guy in a dress is funny. It is.
Guy in a dress is funny. Doesn't even matter the sex. Drag
Not
shows
blackface. There's a fucking difference. I'm not talking about that. You
well, no, there
horrible
was a lot of blackface.
I think there was a lot of that.
You're talking about very
There's a
beginning.
whole heap of blackface.
I'm talking about Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes, not
You
fucking
gotta
all
go
the way.
all of them. If you say
Yeah.
Looney Tunes, it's the entire series.
Well, how progressive of a
like-
cartoon that they came out of blackface and became better. I mean, that's pretty progressive, guys. If you think about it for the time, they
Tom
went
and
from
Jerry had
minstrel
more
TV shows.
Tom and Jerry had more blackface than Looney Tunes did, bro. Just so you know, Jacob. Just putting that.
Yeah.
Like how
Tom and Jerry was
Elvis
pretty bad.
Costello called Ray Charles the N-word in the 70s and then recorded an album with the Roots in the 2000s. Full circle.
Also, that diss track, amazing.
I'm just
Everything I just said was true, by the way.
no, we know. I know.
Go on.
How great is it if you had a racist grandfather that realized the errors of his ways? That's what Looney Tunes was. They went from blackface to putting straight guys in dresses. I feel like that's a step forward.
In that
them.
argument, your grandfather had to risk losing a bunch of money by staying racist. So he was like, "No, okay, fine.
This
We
is
won't call them Japs anymore. Just keep watching our fucking cartoons."
Like if you remember the old
'Cause
school,
they went from, like-
they went from like really racist Asian characters because it was World War II, Pearl Harbor, all that bullshit, and they went from that to well, then let's show the Indians getting enslaved by the Pilgrims, and oh, we stabbed you in the back, honest Injun. And it was like, okay, this is still weird, but you guys are on drugs.
There was also still commentary on it too. Like it was still fucked up. Like nobody else was talking about that.
They have that episode where like I think it's like a doll is going through a shop or a pin, like somebody on a picture. They're going from picture to picture, and it's like just a progression of all the things happening, and it's just all the atrocities of American history. But it's animated, so it's funny,
right?
Or it's entertaining.
Can I talk about how vindicated I feel picking the Jetsons and having you two tear it apart and then follow it up with Batman the Animated Series and fucking Looney Tunes?
I'm just saying.
Way to be progressive, everybody. Sorry I dropped the ball.
Minstrel cartoons to just a racist rat. That was it. It was just, it went from...
The Jetsons just didn't have black people in their neighborhood. I'm sorry. You're the ones assuming black people didn't make it to the sky. The Jeffersons did.
I'm not that bad. Fuck you. Song of the South is really bad. That is really bad. That wasn't Looney Tunes, though.
Why did they never do the Jeffersons-Jetsons crossover
right?
where George Jefferson finally gets that deluxe apartment in the sky? Write that down. Write it down. We're pitching that to Hanna-Barbera if they still exist. Jesus Christ. Oh, this is magic right here.
This is a really fun episode. Where are we?
Okay, no.
We're still on the Looney Tunes.
On Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes is a great pick. I'm not going to lie. They did... Some of the stuff they were doing,
taught you a lot of good things.
No, some of the stuff they were doing with that show is still revolutionary now. Like if you show the
it was the first time I ever saw a cartoon character drunk.
What's the demon barber of Seville? Fucking Scissor, the barber dude. That episode with I don't remember the fucking name of the thing.
Fucking
Pepe Le Pew. They taught us about how to fucking.
Somebody in the chat will say it, guys. My brain went.
Why
totally
can't the
break.
Johnny Depp movie?
I think Bugs Bunny, drag Bugs Bunny is hot.
I can't remember at all. I'm not even gonna look it up. I'm just gonna, somebody will figure it out. Demon Barber of but that episode with him and Elmer Fudd is still groundbreaking and classic right now. The Barber of Seville. Yeah. What was the play? The musical it's based off of. I can't remember.
I don't know either.
That's all good.
Who knows? Sweeney Todd.
They also taught
Sweeney Todd. See?
Sweeney motherfucking Todd.
They also taught us about sexual
Todd
predators. Pepe Le Pew. I knew what kind of behavior.
But
they taught us
he's the hero.
Yeah,
they taught us that sexual predators were okay.
Sexual predators.
No, they didn't.
Yes,
she
would
run
to
away
work
from him on a
harder.
regular basis.
She would run from him on a regular basis, and he would grab her, kiss her without consent. And then as she ran away, huffing and puffing, he just skipped because he's like, I got you. I got a GPS on you. I'm tracking you, bitch. I know where you gonna be. Pepe Le Pew was a toucher, man. I don't fucks with that.
Is it my turn?
Yes, it's your turn. Sorry about that. Pepe. I have very strong opinions about Pepe.
This is my next to last pick, penultimate, as we call it on this show and nowhere else. I'm gonna transition out of potentially culturally insensitive stuff and move into something I think we can all agree is fine. The Simpsons. I mean, unless you're Indian,
yeah, or black,
yeah. The Simpsons, though, it's older than a lot of people listening to this podcast, and that's not for nothing. Yeah. It is the longest running.
Does anybody are the Simpsons black? Is that even possible?
No, the Simpsons are nowhere near.
Dr. Hilbert.
They got 2 black people on the show, the Doctor and Carl.
Well, if we're talking like
40 years.
The Jetsons to the Simpsons, that sounds like progress.
That's a 200%. That's a 200% increase.
What about Lenny?
Lenny? What if they were? What if
Lenny? That's what I meant. Carl's the white
friend,
guy. Carl's the white guy.
Carl and Lenny, and they have Dr. Hibbert, and then they have.
And they're all voiced by a white dude.
I'm not arguing that the Simpsons get it
because at that point in time there was no black voice actor with talent to play a character, or maybe it wasn't in the budget. That's fine.
So in your honest opinion, does the Simpsons not belong on this list because of that?
It does not. I can't. As much as they argue about, hey, they
okay, so because South Park had fucking Isaac Hayes, their one.
And Token and
Yeah,
Sam and
character.
Token and his family. Token and his family. That's 5.
Okay, so
Or 4.
because they're overt
That's 4 is more
and
than 2.
acknowledge
4 is more than 2.
that
4 is more
right.
than 2.
Okay,
4 is more than 2.
so that's a weak fucking argument if
It's
you're
a terrible
putting
ar-
South Park on this list.
I just want to win. I'm not here for strength of
But
argument.
you know, The Simpsons and
Here's
South
my-
Park
here's my
are
issue.
not that different.
No. Here's my issue with.
And here's the thing. The Simpsons also managed to address topical shit without having to sacrifice animation quality. And they kind of predict the... They got Trump
they
coming
predict the
down
future,
the
yes.
fucking elevator.
They predict the future. Yes, they do.
That's not for nothing, and I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's because the writing on that show, even if it's outside the first 7 seasons that everyone romanticizes so much, it's a show that is their writing staff, even if they're not the most diverse, they are tuned into what's happening in the country in a way that South Park isn't, because they have to kind of anticipate where things are going and address those things now, which is kind of what we have to do on this network. Like sometimes I have to pick a news story for a podcast that's not coming out for another 2 weeks or a month, and I just have to hope it's still
relevant by the time. Yeah, yeah.
and meaningful by then. And that's the time frame the Simpsons are working on. And throughout most of our lives, they have nailed that shit when it comes to staying relevant to what's happening in the world today.
Nah,
and that's a
not anymore.
testament.
I think they used to, but it's not like that anymore. They definitely have lost their edge. Like in the last, I mean, if you watch the last 2 seasons,
Yeah.
I don't-
the
it's def- I
I
don't
think
think
the
it's
Simpsons
definitely-
are still good.
My thing with The Simpsons is it's been on too long.
And here's the thing.
That's my issue.
You're like, oh, have you watched the last 2 seasons? I mean, there's 29 seasons.
Yeah.
right? And the
it's
reason
too
I think it was
much.
so incredible is, again, at the time when it came out, there
Okay,
wasn't
look,
anything
look,
like
If
it. It
it's
was
too much, it would be canceled.
No. I'm not saying it's not profitable. I'm saying the average person, you go.
This
The
is
Simpsons
such a ridiculous argument, but go on.
For me, I'm just saying this is in terms of why I would not put it on my list. The average, in my mind, the average individual, you talk about The Simpsons, the first thing that pops in their head is the fucking monorail. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh,
No,
I
that's
can-
what pops into your
No,
mind.
in terms of there's a moment for The Simpsons that everybody can romanticize, but over the
Is
whole,
there that for most of the shows on your
not
list?
just like 1 or 2. There's multiple in most of these shows. But for The Simpsons, it's like, oh, I remember that thing when it did. I know people.
You're out of your mind.
When's the last time? Do you watch The Simpsons regularly now? Do you watch it regularly right now?
I watch very few shows regularly right now.
The average,
But I have
Simpsons
watched
was nice
more
because before that
of
we
The
didn't.
Simpsons than any animated show I've ever watched.
Well,
in my
it
life.
has more
Because
I
it's
mean,
been on forever.
It has more for you to watch.
It's you got to sit
It
and think
has.
about
a
It
lot of the
has
stuff
more.
we have is just newer.
It has more that. Even if you only take the first 7 seasons of The Simpsons that everyone fucking nuts over, that's still more than twice as much output
Yeah.
as fucking Rick and Morty, BoJack Horseman. All these shows I'm supposed to lose my shit over, but The Simpsons, because they kind of waned when they got into their 20s, I'm supposed to be like, fuck that show.
here's it- okay.
No,
No,
those shows need to prove that
Okay.
they're as good and enduring as The Simpsons.
I don't think any show will ever have that. Like you're trying.
I know they won't.
Okay. But again, just because it's lasted this long doesn't mean it's just been groundbreaking.
Okay, so when did it
entire
get
time.
bad?
Probably like a decade ago.
well, I mean,
Okay, so that means there's still 19 fantastic seasons.
That you can
How many
pull-
shows on this list are going
when you
to
say
put up
when
those
you
numbers?
say 19 fantastic seasons, you're saying
Okay, maybe
over
a
19
quarter of them are
seasons, it
bad, so
had
there's
a
what,
couple of good
12?
moments
but the
here and
reason,
there.
only the reason that The Simpsons were groundbreaking when it was
You're
is because
both
we didn't have anything.
lying to yourselves right now. But go the fuck on.
What is wrong with you? You need to smoke more pot.
I-
Why is he mad?
You did review the tapes and see how mad you got when we were shitting on Rick and Morty. And
He loves The Simpsons.
I'm not
that
really
will
mad.
explain
Yeah.
why. No, because we've moved on. But watch it. You got visibly salty when we didn't love your
No, I wanted
three
to know
and a
why.
half good seasons.
You won't let anybody else talk,
animated
though. That's the
show.
difference. Is I
Because
still let you
this
guys
is
talk.
my pick, and I'm
He's
supposed to
defending his
be
pick. Yeah, it's
talking.
Fine. No, it's fine.
But go on, tell me about Rick and Morty. Or whatever.
I'm gonna say that over.
Look who's salty now.
The fact
Jesus
that
Christ.
the fact that The Simpsons, because of its age and refusal to basically evolve, it's what we consider groundbreaking, isn't actually that big when you compare it to series that were able to really tackle issues. Like The Simpsons, yeah, they touched on things, they predicted things, yeah, that's great. But when your main family and your neighbors are all homogenous in terms of their interaction with one another, then you really can't tackle the issues that make shows like The Boondocks so groundbreaking and great. And that's why The Simpsons doesn't do that for me. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
It also came out at a time where we didn't have a family anymore. Like Hanna-Barbera, there was no more. Nobody was still watching Flintstones and Jetsons and shit like that.
No.
It was groundbreaking in the sense that we had a new family that was kind of broken and different, and that we had never seen that construct before.
It's never like.
It was groundbreaking in the way Nirvana was groundbreaking, in the way Married with Children was groundbreaking. It was a thing that it's not the most original, but for that time, it set the tone for the future.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason the second longest running animated show of all time is kind of just a Simpsons ripoff, written and drawn a moderately different way. Like, it changed things.
And that was Sesame Street, right? Care Bears? What was it?
No, the family construct has been around way before The Simpsons. It was there.
You just said we didn't have it in animated shows at that time.
No, because we were done with Hanna-Barbera. It was just another sitcom with a family. And this family was different because it showed a more realistic family as opposed to the Hanna-Barbera families, which were all everything was a cohesive
So it was like the
unit.
Roseanne
It's a good pick, but it's
a
not
great pick.
the greatest.
You know goddamn well it's a good pick. I don't need you to tell me that.
It's all right. I won't.
All right. What's your next pick, Quincy?
My
It
next.
definitely beats Pokemon for
Not
sure,
even close.
without question.
Not even close, bruh. Not even close. Greatest animated series of all time. I gotta go. This was my wild card. There were so many different series to pick from. A lot of them I eliminated just based on technicalities and whatever. But this series was monumental in the fact that it introduced a non-racist, multicultural character to kids, and that's Dora the Explorer. You know what I mean? Because up until that point, most racial characters on television were in some way a caricature of racial stereotypes. And
like Muppet Babies and shit.
yeah, all that yeah, like it was just one of those things where you see it. And when my generation had already outgrown the idea of accepting that type of racial bullshit in animation, you got a character that not only was introduced to children so that they could learn tolerance early, but also a character that was really bringing a lot of refreshing fun to the table, because it wasn't just like, hey, this is Barney, everybody hug each other. There were lessons there. It was fun. They were teaching kids Spanish. The backpack was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at Dora and you fucks with Dora.
I'm for the Hispanic takeover, so I like Dora the Explorer. I like,
The takeover?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Where it's low key.
Are
We're
you
not
guys having
making all the
secret
fuss.
meetings now? Oh, Jesus.
That's what we say. We go undercover during the race war, and then after everybody's killed each other, then we have the whole country to ourselves. It's a great plan.
That seems unlikely, given the history of race relations in Los Angeles. But go on.
Well, look at the rest.
A guy can
look at the
dream.
rest of it. Yeah, don't go by Los Angeles.
I meant the racial history between Hispanics and black people.
There's a lot of tension there.
A whole lot in this city. Go on.
I'm sorry, but yeah, Dora's my pick. I love the show. I love what it brought.
I wouldn't call it an actual series though. There's like no story. Like we don't. It's just Dora in different situations.
I mean, it's lessons. Yeah, it's like it's not
that in the same way. I wouldn't say like G.I. Joe is because it's just like they go and they do a thing, and you're supposed to learn. This
You mean to
specific
tell
lesson.
me we don't get to find out what happened to Shipwreck's dad?
We don't ever find
No,
out. I want to know. I wanted to know.
Well, didn't they
I
all
just,
just
like-
have like stupid names on G.I. Joe shore leave? Wasn't there a guy named Shore Leave on?
There was a dude named Snow Job, and I got laughed at
What?
so hard
Oh my
when
God,
I
is
showed
that-
up with Snow Job at school one day. And they were like, that sounds like blowjob. And I was like, what is blowjob? I don't fucking, I'm 6. I'm 6. What's happening right now? But it was humiliating nonetheless.
That is great.
Because he dressed in all white and had like a fucking, I don't know what the fuck Snow Job did. He was just good in the winter.
He just wore a white coat.
They only had one dude who was good in the winter.
He's gonna go outside.
How much
It's cold.
snow are we going to encounter policing the world?
Call in Snow Job. He'll get us through it.
It's cold here. Call Snow Job. Hello, G.I. Joe?
We have to go to the tundra.
What's your next pick?
This
Go-
job
call
or
Snow
Snow
Job.
Job.
Snow Job.
Your last.
My
these
last
are
pick
our
it-
last picks, yeah.
My last pick. I feel like I should tell everybody listening that I was ripped as fuck when I made this list.
I like it.
So this last one, I totally get if people don't, but I still think there's a decent case for it. It's Ren and Stimpy. I think Ren and Stimpy was them in, I mean, I didn't have time for a 6, but I would say even Ren and Stimpy / Rocco's Modern Life
Yeah, see,
was
those,
a very,
those two together.
I like them together. I like them
that's a
together
good
because,
back-to-back.
yeah,
That's a
because
good hour of TV right there.
you see what I'm saying? It also taught us that like about being gross. Like I'm not grossed out by things because I watched Ren and Stimpy.
I watched the Chihuahua play bongos on a cat's ass, and it was just like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I've never done drugs before, but I think this is what
Yeah.
it's like.
It's kind of like how it's cool for chicks to do the news topless in Europe. That's what Ren and Stimpy was for America.
I like the way
feel
they
like
think
Ren
over
and
there.
You know-
Stimpy, to me, was one of the first kind of adult cartoons.
yeah,
Kid cartoon.
it was
Because
for
it-
us. It was not us, but it was like at the time it was like for not little kids, but
Right.
also for
like,
us.
It came out at a time when I didn't give a fuck about cartoons.
Adolescence.
I
It was
had,
an adolescent cartoon.
yeah, I had kind of moved on, but I heard about Ren and Stimpy and watched it and was like, yeah, I get it. This is really great. Because it reminded me of shit like heavy metal and these like really graphic kind of violent things, but they toned it down and made it
silly because it was a fucking
almost
cartoon.
silly and palatable
Yeah.
for kids. Yeah.
Because that
It
was like it made so much sense because like they weren't making a lot of TV or especially not cartoons for adolescents.
Right.
I would say other than Batman the Animated Series. That was also something that was like straight up not for little kids.
Yeah, it wasn't for Saturday morning.
No,
that
it
was for
wasn't.
something for you to sit down in the evening and go like, this is a TV show I'm gonna watch, and then maybe MASH will
that
come
was for
on or some shit.
14-year-olds. And
Yeah.
the same thing, I feel like the same thing was for like 11 to 15-year-olds was what Ren and Stimpy was. It was like, oh, boogers and pus and all this stuff
Yeah,
that
it was
was
like
it was
you-
so taboo
They
for
had
us.
that. We had the Eureka's Castle block for the
Oh, I
daycare
loved
kids,
Eureka's
and
Castle.
then after
Fuck,
school,
man.
it was time for
I
Ren
forget
and
we're
Stimpy
around
and
the
shit.
same age. I
Yeah.
loved Eureka's
Yeah, man.
Castle.
Nicktoons,
That's like
man.
one of my. I would put that in the
Nicktoons
top
was a
5 for one of the best
part of our lives.
children's shows.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy, and like and just some of the off the wall shit they were doing, like Cinnamon Toast Man, and like they were just doing such like, oh, we did a bunch of drugs in Joshua Tree, and now we're back in Santa Monica to write.
Yeah, it was a crazy fucking
That's just
show.
what's on your brain.
So crazy.
Yeah,
It's
man.
nuts.
Yeah, man, Ren and Stimpy was great.
I still remember the log song. I still have the whole thing memorized.
The log song, Jesus Christ.
I still know the entire thing. Ren and
gonna be a
Stimpy was
nostalgia
so
fest now,
good.
guys.
It was really good. It was really well written, man.
Oh,
I rewatched it as an adult, and it's still stupidly funny.
Oh yeah, yeah, great pick. It's a good pick.
That's a good pick.
What's your last pick, Mister Adam Todd Brown?
My
Is
last
it Futurama? Is it because it's
you're
the
very
Simpsons
you're
in the sky?
so very very close. Because if the Simpsons were the Nirvana of their time when it comes to animated shows, at the very least like the Soundgarden or Alice in Chains of the time.
I have no idea what any of these bands are.
but
Who
a
are
lot
these
of people listening do, and I'm talking about King of the Hill.
Ooh, Hank
Which-
Hill in the game.
Oh,
King
man,
of
I
the
would have
Hill.
gone with Futurama over King of the Hill.
But here's the thing. It's very easy to make motherfuckers in space charming and fun. Mike Judge made Texas rednecks completely
Lovable.
innocuous
Made 'em
and
lovable.
lovable.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I, to this day, don't think Hank Hill would have voted for Trump. I feel like he maybe would have considered it at first.
He would have got weirded out at
And
a rally.
He would have got weirded out at a rally,
Mhm.
or Peggy would have changed his mind.
Yeah, of course,
Like-
Peggy. Peggy is I will go on record saying Peggy is the greatest animated wife.
Peggy
of all
was
time.
amazing.
Peggy Hill, best
Because
best
she
drawn
got
wife.
to
Fuck
do her
Betty
own,
Boop or whatever.
like
Betty
she
Rubble.
she was on the show that probably the most called for the wife to be very beholden to what her husband was doing and saying, and she was the least when it comes to characters like that. She was such a great character, so independent of that's what I love about that show. All those characters, I would watch a Boomhauer episode all fucking day. I would watch, I don't even remember, was it Dale was the conspiracy theorist, right?
Mm-hmm.
That show was so well written, and like Mike Judge, people talk about Office Space, they talk about Beavis and Butthead, but King of the Hill, it's the third longest running animated show in U.S. history, behind Family Guy, which I'm glad isn't on anyone's list because that show is fucking trash. That show is the Emmett Smith of animated shows.
I can't wait till we go to like a Comic-Con and there's a Family Guy booth.
Fuck those
that's gonna be
motherfuckers,
great.
man.
Oh,
Why
that's
do you
gonna be
hate
great.
Family Guy so much?
Because it's
Simpsons
not,
did it.
it's not good. Like I get,
But you could say that, but they're obviously successful.
yeah, so's Nickelback, fucking Larry the Cable Guy, Jeff Foxworthy. Like there's so many awful things you have to defend if you want to use it's the second longest running, so it must be good. Yeah, a lot of things have been running for a long time that
Well, then,
aren't that
that's the same defense
great.
you would use for Simpsons, though.
Yeah, that's fine. And I will defend The Simpsons. But I
And you'll
don't,
also defend King of the Hill.
I just don't,
defend
and
King-
I'll defend King of the Hill, but I just don't fucking like Family Guy.
Yeah.
I don't like how it's written. I don't respect the jokes. I don't respect the comedy. I get a pop culture cutaway is funny to people who go,
It's
oh,
not just
fuck.
pop culture, though.
It's-
There's
I
literary
recognize
references.
that.
It's funny for the YouTube generation. It's not really funny for. It came so far after The Simpsons. It just filled that gap of we can do social commentary in this vignette, but we can also have a fat guy on a bicycle too, because
Yeah.
that's always it's vaudeville. We can always have something to keep you interested.
And they
because
also ran a promo where Marge Simpson got raped. So fuck the Family Guy.
I didn't see that, but oh my,
Fucking
it's
Google
getting
it.
I
weird.
mean,
It's
Mike
getting
Judge
weird.
obviously didn't
Getting
feel that way,
weird.
or
Getting
he,
weird.
he wouldn't have done the crossover episode.
I don't care.
Money
I
is
don't
money.
like the Family Guy.
Yeah.
I'm entitled to not like the Family Guy. That's how
True that.
entertainment works. And I think King of the Hill is a funnier show. I think it's better written. I think in the big scheme of things, it will go down as the better show.
What you're saying?
And that's just my opinion.
You saying you don't agree with me? Podcast over.
I know,
What?
right?
What? You don't agree with
I
what
know.
I know.
Why
Crazy,
did I
right?
agree to do this show? But no, King of the Hill's a great pick. That's a really good show. I love that. I do love that show because
It's-
I was living in Texas at the time, so
And it's a great show by someone with it. Like, it probably should have. That's why it's number one. Like, the people who write The Simpsons, they've written The Simpsons, and The Simpsons is great. Mike Judge has written a lot of great shit. And in my opinion, King of the Hill is the best thing Mike Judge has ever. Like, he writes cultural fucking touchstones. He writes things that people look back on and go, oh, yeah, I remember what my life was like when Beavis and Butthead was on. I remember what I was doing when fucking.
But that could be said
King
about
of
a
the
lot
Hill.
of the things on our other list.
Yeah,
Like,
but
we
that
talked
doesn't
about
make
it.
Mike Judge not great.
Mike
And it
Judge's
doesn't not give
But
me
that's
a.
the defense you're using. That's what I'm saying. Like, that could be said for a lot
What
of
am I
different things.
defending?
You're just saying you just said the reason that it's great is because people remember what they were doing when they were watching something specific. And all I'm saying
What's
is
the same reason
any
the
of these
Challenger
things-
explosion is great, or the JFK assassination?
Oh, right.
Like you
'Cause you
remember,
remember what
what
you were
were
eating?
doing when these things happen.
So
And
tragedy
yeah,
makes those-
that's why But like, why?
How does that
Why?
does that make sense?
Because I'm making a fucking joke. I'm a comedian. But also, why wouldn't I put a thing that I think people remember what they were doing when it was on? Why wouldn't that be like? Why wouldn't that be my defense?
Because it applies to every. That's my point. It applies to
that
all of
doesn't
us.
define to.
Wait,
I don't
wait,
remember
wait,
what the.
we're getting
I don't remember
sidetracked,
what the
guys,
fuck I was doing when Rick and Morty premiered. I remember what I was doing when the 15th fucking comic told me to finally watch Rick and Morty, and I was like, I give up. Fine. So the fuck what?
Okay.
I remember.
We're getting sidetracked.
I feel like you care way too much about Rick and Morty than I do, to be honest.
Guys, we've got our list. Let's do our eliminations. Let's do that because we're getting sidetracked. Like we all love our picks. That's why
I want to cut Rick and Morty.
You started with the cuts already?
Yeah, let's go.
Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is out of here.
It hasn't been on long enough, and from what I hear, season 3 isn't even that fucking good.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're going by what you heard and not what you observed yourself. That's
because
really
I don't
good.
watch that show.
Good.
Okay, what are you eliminating?
The
Carmen?
Simpsons, then I guess we'll take the Simpsons out.
This just took a weird turn, and there will be pistols at dawn.
If we're gonna bring emotions into it,
stay tuned for After Hours, where someone's
I
gonna
thought it was supposed
bleed.
to be a fun podcast.
Hey, I'm having a great time.
I am too.
My first elimination is going to have to be.
I guess I could pass the listener.
Yeah, because I'm
Do you
trying
need to see the list?
I'm trying to think in my head which ones I hated the most, which was all of them. It's all about teamwork. Sorry about the pause, guys. It's all good. I am going to get rid of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
That tracks.
Because
it's a sentimental favorite.
Looking at this list, because she can pick hers and you can.
Yeah.
He-Man's got to go.
I'm gonna have to go with Pokemon.
Oh, you're just a racist.
Yeah.
Carmen Morales hates Japanese people. That's all. Anything that has to be dubbed into English, she thinks is not good enough.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not that it's not good enough. It just belongs. You should talk about it on the anime episode. I'll vote for it. It'll be on my list on the anime episode if I'm back.
Go for it.
I'm gonna cut Dora the Explorer.
Oh, you're a racist.
It seems
Just
like
another
a weird.
racist.
It seems like a
He might be like
weird
low key.
choice.
Can you do me a favor while you're scratching out then? Can we get the Jetsons off of this goddamn list?
That's fine with me.
Gross. That's gotta go.
I'm gonna go with BoJack Horseman.
You're all dead to me. I thought you were my friends at the start of this episode. And now this is the way you treat me?
All right, Donna Milligan, you are on.
She wants to add Futurama. Instead of making a save, can she add Futurama?
Yeah.
That would be a nice move. We've done it before when
Let's
you did
do it.
Randy
Yeah.
Savage. Boom. Futurama
right.
added, guys. Donna Milligan with the Unpops addition to the list. Shouts
She
out to
deserves
Donna.
it. She said it like 100 times throughout
Appreciate
this
you.
entire podcast.
I think the fix is already in. Unless I get a saving grace, the winner of this list cast is Donna Milligan.
All right. So, what are some things that you almost put on your list that you didn't? While I get the poll ready.
Almost on the list, but didn't. Avatar: The Last Airbender. I almost had that on my list. It's a great.
Is that a series?
Yeah, it's an animated series.
I thought that was a movie.
I thought that would also qualify as a.
No, it started as an animated
anime.
series, and no, that's not an anime.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of something else. What am I?
Avatar was on Nickelodeon.
Oh, not Avatar. I thought you were talking about the Airbender.
No, not Avatar. I'm sorry.
Wait, what's happening?
I'm talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Aang, the Avatar, The Last Airbender, not Avatar,
I'd
the
probably
James
have to see
Cameron
it.
movie. I'm talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's what I'm talking about.
But
I
that's
don't
an
know- not
M. Night
anime?
Shyamalan movie, isn't it?
That's M. Night took the idea from the animated series and made an awful movie about it. But the animated series
Where are you
is
right now,
really
Quincy?
good. I'm talking to you all. You don't understand that Avatar was a thing. You guys
It's
never
just
saw
that none
Avatar.
of us believe you.
You guys never saw
No, I
Avatar.
just
The
thought it
Last
was an
Airbender.
anime. That's all. I've seen it. I just thought it was an anime.
Oh, it's an animated series on Nickelodeon. It came on Nicktoons.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a great series. Also, what was in consideration for my list. Let me see here. I was what else was I debating? Oh, Animaniacs. Animaniacs was up there, But when you
I
had,
loved Animaniacs.
but Animaniacs was literally just the offshoot of what Looney Tunes should have become. Because it was still all the old tropes.
Pinky and the Brain was really good spinoff. I actually liked this. That was like one of those the spinoffs I liked better than the original.
Pinky and the babies of Animaniacs did Freakazoid. Had a great show that was crazy and weird. Like Animaniacs is in that conversation, but for my list, I couldn't put it on there because Looney Tunes in my mind is better. Yeah. So I wouldn't even put it up there with Looney Tunes. It's like just pay homage where it's due. Looney Tunes is that shit, you know? Yeah. Minus all the racism.
Like if it wasn't racist, it would be the best.
If you could just get rid of racism in America, it would be the best. You know what I mean? But you kind of need it for the seasoning. You kind of need it for the sauce. It's a dual-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to our entertainment.
Horrible. That's horrible.
When it comes to our entertainment goals out here, guys. Got to break a few eggs with these omelets. I apologize for my comments. I'm gonna go seek counseling. Anything on your you were gonna put on your list that you didn't?
I'm trying to think. Archer was the other one. Okay. Because Archer is like one I can binge watch that cartoon. And yeah.
Archer, yeah, I like when Adam said earlier, Archer's a great. The Boondocks already on there, right above it.
Is it?
He says the Boondocks right above it.
Yeah, it seems like, but there's only 9 things on the list. What am I missing?
Nothing. There should be 9, right?
No, there should be 10, because she saved.
No, she added.
Yeah, you added one.
Right, but after we cut 6, that takes us down to 9.
Just name the ones on the list, and I'll tell you which one's missing.
Pokemon, Boondocks,
Pokemon's
He-Man.
missing. Oh, she eliminated Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon got cut.
Just name me the ones that aren't cut.
There's only 9 on this list. Hey, we're voting with 9. I don't know what the fuck's happening.
I made 2 cuts. You made 2 cuts. She made 2 cuts.
Which took us down to 9, and we were supposed to add 1.
Can I just
Futurama? So there should be 10.
Futurama's on the list.
Boondocks, Ren and Stimpy, Rugrats, Looney Tunes, Batman the Animated Series, South Park.
Why did we do that?
The Simpsons
this way.
No,
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons got cut.
What's on your? Let me see the list. I can tell you.
This is good pod.
It's all good pod. We're here for
good pod.
This is what happens when you do drugs and you do your job too.
Hey, people in the comments, what's not on the list? I want to go. Carmen cut 3.
I did? What's the third one?
Oh, Carmen cut 3. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, she cut Pokemon, BoJack Horseman, and Dora the Explorer.
Oh, it was only supposed to be 2?
I cut Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, Carmen cut 3.
Rick and Morty. What'd you cut, Quincy?
I cut He-Man and the Jetsons. So then
I think
Simpsons, Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, I think I cut 3 then.
What'd you cut?
I cut the Simpsons. I cut BoJack Horseman. I don't know.
And Dora the Explorer.
I didn't cut.
I cut Dora the Explorer. Hey,
Pokemon. She cut Pokemon too.
Oh, that's right, Pokemon.
That was her last cut. So Pokemon goes on the list. People, we're back.
Oh,
we did it.
Thank God.
We did it. What's the save? Oh, the saves are. Or she can. Yeah, get him out of here.
It's not.
No, my last one was. Oh yeah, it was. I thought the last one was BoJack Horseman that I cut.
No, you said Pokemon last because you're an evil person.
I didn't know how many we were cutting.
Back in the game, baby. It's all about teamwork. We're going to fix that in post. It's going to act like it never happened.
For the love of God, the list is up now. Go to the Patreon. If you're a subscriber, you can help us figure this thing out.
What were you going to have on your list that you didn't?
Nothing, man. I was happy the minute I got my list down. I considered Beavis and Butthead at one point. I considered Animaniacs. I fucking loved Animaniacs. DuckTales, but it's just like the fucking theme song. It's not that good of a cartoon.
I was leaning Darkwing Duck as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like Darkwing Duck.
I fucks with Darkwing.
Because that's all that like after high school shit for me. Like I would come home
you could still be cool talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was Animaniacs.
You weren't watching Muppet Babies. It's like, I don't watch that shit, but you watch Darkwing Duck, though.
Yeah,
Darkwing Duck was
Darkwing
cool
Duck.
because he was a superhero that wasn't perfect, and that was like the first time we got to see
The poll
that.
is up.
Yeah.
How
You
long
know?
should we leave it up?
3 minutes again.
3 minutes.
3 minutes? 3 minutes?
Sure.
A wham bam thank a ma'am, if you will. And well, let's make sure the right choice wins, guys. And that right choice better not be Futurama, you twisted sons of bitches.
It might be. Maybe that will be their reaction.
Their revenge.
Yeah.
The Futurama revenge. The rise.
If you can't all get along, we're going to pick our own.
Hey, man, we learned our lesson.
I have not.
Uh-oh. We'll try again next time. I really don't like the fact that Simpsons didn't make this list because I wanted it to lose. Like, it being eliminated is a cute thing because it's like, oh, it wasn't even in the running. I wanted that show to lose.
Yeah, it wouldn't have. And you know that. But also, it's just a podcast, and that's fine. Like, we did a musicals podcast, and
Phantom of the Opera didn't win.
Hamilton.
no, we cut Hamilton
Racist.
almost out of spite.
Racist.
Yeah, but it was, I wasn't participating, and it was
one of those
Indian
and one
comic
of them.
and a gay dude.
Okay.
So I was.
Wait, was one of them Samir?
It was Samir and Joe K.
Oh, you
And I
survived
think-
that?
I
bet they
think
got into it.
Samir cut Hamilton,
Just to spite him?
and then I was doing the save, so I think it was expected that I would save Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually not heard great things about Hamilton.
Oh, guys.
Here's the
this
thing,
just took
Alex
a turn.
Schmidt.
Is it right?
Alex Schmidt, of all people, described Hamilton as a thing that people who've never listened to rap probably like a lot.
They've heard this is
And
how
I
we do
buy
it.
that.
They've heard this is how we do
That's
it.
not a rap song, Quincy. That's Montel Jordan crooning his heart out. So if that's your defense, I'm siding with Alex Schmidt so far. And Hamilton got cut. And
Why
I
do you
think
hate Montel Jordan so much? Wait a second. What is going on right now?
He had a career before that song. Did you know that?
I don't believe you.
Montel Jordan?
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of Slick Rick, who he
No,
stole
that's
the
my
song from.
that's Hanging with Mr. Cooper. That was who that. That's not who Mr. Cooper was. He wasn't Mr. Cooper before Montel Jordan.
that song. This is how we do it. Was his comeback song.
What was his career before that? I'm learning so many new things.
He had like some. It was like just like he was kind of like somebody else's Puff Daddy type of deal. Like he was always in the background and shit. He wasn't like.
This
I think he
doesn't
fell
feel
off the
right
map.
I
to
gotta
me.
look this up.
Citation needed.
We will be looking up. We'll be doing an in-depth episode on Montel Jordan's history very soon.
I'm so much more interested in that now. All right. We still have, how much time do we have left?
We
Uh-oh,
got-
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Guys, tune in.
Get your fucking votes in.
Vote. Let your voices be heard. Also, understand that Adam Todd Brown and Carmen Morales have never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, so they are already
why
terrible
would we?
people. They're already terrible people. Don't vote for their picks. Like they don't.
Was that the one that
they
had
don't
the
love
shaved
you.
head and like the
Yeah.
tattoo on his forehead?
Yeah, they don't love you. They
Yeah,
don't
it
love
sounds
you.
stupid.
It sounded. I thought it was an anime.
Yeah, it sounds dumb.
I thought it was an anime.
Guys, let's see who won. So
Why
I
is
can get
it
away
so
from
dumb,
these,
Quincy?
I can get away from you terrible,
All right.
terrible people.
We're going to refresh,
Oh, this is it's a nail biter.
and it all comes down
King
to
of the
this.
Hill. King of the Hill. Futurama wins by a landslide.
I think that's awesome.
That's perfect.
That's awesome.
So, all right. Why do I use this computer?
The 9 Boondocks votes are
It's a little
all the-
disappointing.
those are all the black people in
Futurama wins, which I think that's a fair pick.
If The Simpsons is there, you don't need Futurama. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, then maybe someone should have made sure The Simpsons made the list, so
well.
Futurama
Someone
didn't
should have
win.
not
So it
been
could've
all
lost.
salty this whole podcast because we're just talking. I don't even care about any of these things. That's why I'm not a
It-
nerd. I don't give a fuck about any of this.
It feels like you care right now.
I know, but that's why you're wrong. I don't. That's what it's like. I'm just
Why are
high
you
and
yelling
I
at
love
me?
arguing.
he likes
that's
arguing,
my
yeah.
favorite thing.
That's why I invited
That's
you.
why I get into.
Right,
That's why I get into relationships is to argue with people. You think it's because I need somebody? No.
Okay,
I want somebody to
so
fight with.
in second
People
place,
don't get that.
Archer, which I guess means I kind of won. But I don't want to harp on it. Tied for third, King of the Hill and South Park.
Not bad.
Batman the Animated Series.
Boom, there
number
we go.
5.
Bringing up
I gotta
the
go
rear.
back and watch it. It's on Netflix, I think, wasn't it?
Peep it. It's a dope ass series.
This was so much fun.
I don't believe him.
No, it was. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I had a great time.
Sometimes these things get contentious. That's how
That's
these
the whole
fucking
point of that's the whole marketing
podcasts work.
We're just making up
That's what
marketing
you're
strategy as we
marketing?
go. So yeah, get angry with
Yeah.
each other because you feel passionate about your picks. That's why it's fun.
I want one to turn into a fight someday.
Oh yeah, fight cast.
Still hoping for
List
it.
cast turns into fight cast on camera. Da-na-na-na-na. Okay.
So, what do we have to plug before we get out of here? I am on tour right now.
Tour.
If you're listening to this, or I will be soon, in the Midwest, May 16th through the 20th. I'll be in fucking Chicago, Minneapolis, Dyersville, Iowa, Wichita, Kansas,
Hotness.
and Kansas City, Missouri. Come out to those shows, unpops.com/tour. I love you. Straight up love you.
I'm gonna be in July. I'm going to be in Colorado for the whole month. I'll be traveling all over.
Nice.
Loonies in Colorado Springs, and then an assortment of the Improv in Denver, and then a few other places in between. CarmenMorales.com for all your Carmen Morales needs. If you would also like another podcast where it's me and another comic, and we talk about things we don't like, it's actually way more pleasant than this. It doesn't actually have this many emotions on it. It's way silly. If you want to listen to that, it's called No Sir, I Don't Like It. It's at No Sir Pod on all the assorted social media things.
No Sir Pod. And then guys, as always, follow me on the socials at Quincy Johnson II. I love each and every one of you. If you're ever in the city of Los Angeles, I'm in the streets every goddamn day.
You are in
Fuck
these
with me.
streets.
So holla at your boy. I'm grounded for a little while because, again, trying to get over this depression one day at a time. And after that, I love you all. And check us out, as always, on What in the World every Thursday on the Unpopular Opinion Network.
Every Thursday on Unpops. Listen to me and Quincy talk about the situation in Nicaragua. I think we got that UK politician to resign.
I think so. She heard the podcast.
Because we were literally the only
the Windrush
outlet in America that talked about the Windrush generation.
She heard the pod and was like, the people have
She
spoken.
was like,
I'm disappointed in my actions.
I can't stand in the face of criticism from the What in the World podcast.
Yeah. Those guys got me. Sick burns.
But I'm sure all your other favorite news podcasts also covered that.
Yes, they'll tell you about it
They
next
didn't.
week.
They didn't. They're not that good at it.
You
Anyway,
guys do news too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I do a lot. I do so much.
We do a lot of pod.
Are you talking about that meth again?
No,
That
I'm
too.
talking about that fucking work.
That work.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here. Quincy, say goodbye.
Bye, people.
Carmen, say goodbye.
Bye.
Adam, say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. I love you. Goodbye, live stream. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for tuning in, kids.